Imagine a room. The year is 325 AD, Nicaea in what we now call Turkey. Hundreds of bishops, long beards, worn cloaks, scars from persecution still fresh. They sit around a table and argue. They have always argued, ever since Peter and Paul clashed in Antioch out loud in front of everyone. Paul himself tells the story in his letter to the Galatians. I opposed him to his face because he was in the wrong. Two apostles, a direct confrontation. The church was just a few years old, and already someone was looking at someone else and saying, You are wrong. That is where this begins, the argument. These themes are ones I am exploring in depth in a book coming out soon. We will talk about it. Keep following this channel. The history of Christianity is from the very start a history of borders. Who is inside? Who is outside? How one believes? How one betrays? That is the nature of anyone who has something worth guarding. If you believe that Jesus is the Son of God, the eternal Son, the second person of the Trinity, the Word made flesh, then that sentence carries enormous specific weight. Anyone who drains it of meaning is taking something from you that you consider worth everything. From this tension comes the need to define, to say, this is the boundary. Beyond it lies something else. The Council of Nicaea grows from exactly this. A priest from Alexandria, Arius, teaches that the sun is the first creature brought into existence at a precise moment, that the Father comes first. It sounds like a fine distinction. It was instead a difference that generated centuries of conflict. Nicaea votes, the Arians lose, and then, slowly, painfully, they disappear. It takes centuries, but they disappear. This is the mechanism. First you define, then the boundary excludes, and what is excluded, over time, dissolves. Or so it seems. The word heretic comes from Greek. It means one who chooses, one who takes a side. The name is given by the winners, and the name already carries the verdict. You chose wrongly. You separated yourself. For centuries, this mechanism works in exactly this way. A council is convened. A creed is written. Those who remain outside become heretics. And the heretic is dangerous for himself and for everyone he meets. Ideas travel, they attach, they multiply. The problem was theological and social at once. A heretic in a medieval village was like a fire in a hayloft. It could burn everything down. And the medieval squares, before the Inquisition, were already burning people, on their own, without trial, without rules, without defense. That is the point almost no one makes. The Inquisition is born as a response to this chaos. It is born because someone understood that leaving justice to crowds produces horrors worse than any tribunal. In 1184, with the bull ad abolendum, the Church begins to build a procedure. Then, in the 13th century, under Gregory IX, the Inquisition becomes an institution. An institution has rules. It has a process. It has evidence. It has rights, even for the accused. In an age when ordinary justice was often a post and a rope, the Inquisition introduced the obligation to hear the accused, to gather testimony, to allow a defense. That is simply a fact. And among the tools it developed, one reveals much about the seriousness of the procedure, the right to defense. In the inquisitorial process, the accused had the right to know the charges, the right to call witnesses in his favor, the right to challenge hostile witnesses. If he could demonstrate they were personal enemies, their testimony lost its weight. The Inquisitor's Manual by Bernard Guy, written in the early 14th century, dedicates precise pages to these guarantees. A technical document, cold, meticulous, one that also regulates the limits of torture, to be applied once only in the presence of serious evidence, with a physician present. Today it sounds grotesque. Then it was a barrier, because outside that room In the square, a sufficiently loud accusation was enough. A neighbor's voice was enough. Collective fear was enough. The inquisitorial process, for all its horrors, introduced something a crowd never knows: procedure, time, form. Form is already a form of justice. Judging the past through the eyes of the present is easy. It is comfortable. It allows one to feel superior at no cost. Those who tortured in the name of faith were convinced they were saving souls. They justified the torture as necessary for something they considered greater than the body, the eternal against the temporal. They were wrong, profoundly wrong. But understanding why they were wrong demands more effort than simply recoiling. It demands asking, what are we prepared to do ourselves for what we consider absolute? And where do we draw the line? Today, as Christians, we are called to something radically different: to build bridges, to seek unity, to ask how we come back together. The present moment, with all its slowness, its resistance, its partial failures, is exactly this: an attempt to reverse the logic of Nicaea. The question shifts: how do we find each other again? John 17 is the chapter where Jesus prays. He prays for his own, that they may all be one, as you, Father, are in me and I in you. A prayer for unity, not for uniformity. The difference is everything. Uniformity says we must be identical. Unity says we must be together, even in our differences. The Inquisition pursued uniformity with fire. We are called to build unity with something far more demanding: dialogue, patience, the recognition that even those who believe differently from me may encounter the same Jesus. It is the most difficult logic that exists, and it is the right one.